Hey, welcome to Spitting the Bit. We're talking about the Belmont, and once again, it's going to be not run at Belmont, it's going to be run at Saratoga, which makes it a little different. It's a little shorter. It's not the mile and a half, it's a mile and a quarter, and it doesn't have those big, wide, sweeping turns like Belmont has. It has a kind of a more compact, tighter turns. Um, I
Third
think
year, I think, at Saratoga, right?
it's at Saratoga, yeah. They're a little tighter
Yeah,
turns.
I think it's the third year they've had it,
Yeah,
but I think it's the last year. I think
I do too.
pretty certain that Belmont Park's supposed to be open later this summer.
It'll be
So that's kind
kind
of
of
fun.
kind of fun, kind of cool. I like the fact that there's some renovation going on. Pimlico, Belmont getting some tracks, a little bit of a facelift and looking good. So,
Yeah,
but
Belmont Park's going to be an interesting layout because they're going to add a synthetic track along with all the other upgrades that they have. So
yeah,
they'll have all three surfaces like Gulfstream.
that's how you should do it. That's the way to do it, I think. So, but then again, I don't have to
100%. I
spend the
mean,
money.
you've got
Yeah,
these big stakes races running on the grass and it rains.
yeah,
At least they can run it on synthetic.
yeah. Let's figure it out. Yeah, I like that. So, hey,
Figure it out.
I think this race is going to be a good one. I like the fact
Yeah, it's
we get
interesting.
some Derby horses that the Derby, the pace fell apart and it worked out well for Golden Tempo, and but you have some of the horses who we thought would do better than they did, and they're coming back to prove themselves. You got the Chief
Hmm.
Wallabies and Emerging Market and Commandment. They, I would say Renegade, but he ran a good Derby too. I thought finishing it close second was pretty good for him. But yeah, those other three, I think they have something to prove, and here they are, ready to prove it. So I'm gonna like this race.
Yeah, I like it too, and I like especially that how to put it. In a 20 horse field, the Derby field, I feel like you can. There's excuses.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, and,
um,
and they're legit
I don't think
excuses. Yeah.
there's. Yeah, there's far less chance in this race with a field of what, nine.
Hmm.
I think it's the best horse wins kind of thing.
Yeah, you have far less other factors to
Yep.
to go in on this. So, well, hey,
Should be fun.
let's get right into it. Let's talk about our top five.
All
Um,
right.
who do you have fifth?
Well, and I will start it off by saying I think by a numbers game, I think it's fairly close on the top five. However, boy, my top five are, I don't have any need to be near the lead type of horse in my top five. Um, and a bunch of these horses are, at least in the Derby, kind of rely on do better with a hot pace or a solid pace. I'm not sure we're going to get that in this race outside of some of the horses that I don't see a lot of value in might try and press things. Um,
Uh, Power
but I
Shift, I
think,
think, is the only speed in here. Power Shift, yeah,
yeah,
I think he's gonna
would
go
agree.
fast, and then, as they say, he's gonna walk the dog. He's gonna slow the pace down. There's nobody to push him.
Right. I think it's just going to be a harder race to be a deep closer in.
I agree.
But do you want to get started? Did you say, yeah, with
Yeah,
the our top fives?
who's your five?
I have Renegade as my fifth horse.
Whoa,
Um,
Reneg, the morning line favorite.
I
You are
do, yeah.
you are a
And again, you know
maniac.
me. I really try not to look at. I try not to do anything involved with names when I do it.
Yeah,
Just look
or
at
odds.
what I
You
see in the
don't.
past performances.
Yeah, you don't look at the
Um,
odds either. So that's crazy. You have him five. Wow. Tell me why.
I do, and one of the things that I think is notable, um, when I'm looking at this, correct me if I'm wrong, at least by using Brisnet speed figures. Of my top five, as far as I see it, there's only one horse in my top five who has not yet run, according to Brisnet, has run a triple digit speed figure, and that's Renegade. Um, again, you other handicapping tools might see it differently, but he has yet to run a triple digit fire figure. So that brings him down for me. And I also, so far, haven't seen the kind of early speed that I think he's going to need to be um, a true win contender in this race. I could be wrong. According to the morning line, I am very wrong. But I see him easily finishing in the money in this race, but I'm not going to have my money on him to win.
Okay. I I I sort of agreed. I have him as number three. Um,
Okay.
I don't have him winning either. I have him third. People talk about he had a little bit of a rough trip at the Derby, but I disagree. He had a rough start, but
Yeah,
if you look at that, he went barreling into them. He initiated the contact and he likes
mhm.
contact. So I think he had a pretty good trip, all in all.
I did
Um,
too. And I
so
begrudge him nothing. I think he improved a
no,
little bit from the
no.
Arkansas Derby to the Kentucky Derby. I think he ran a really good race. I
Mhm.
think he's a super good horse.
Yep.
Just where these horses are right now and who the competition is and what they do well in this race. I
Yeah.
just think he's got more of an uphill battle in this race
Yeah.
than he did in the Derby.
Yeah, again, I think the Derby had a good trip, and he's not, and that it worked to his advantage, and he got a little, the pace broke down, and with all the speed, and you're right, you said earlier, I don't think we're going to get that. We're not going to get that speed. If there was more speed in this race, it would work to Renegade's advantage. But I have him third, you have him fifth, the number four Renegade. My number five
Yep.
horse is almost as radical, not quite as radical as it is, but I have Golden Tempo. I have the Derby favorite, and a lot for the same reasons. Like you said,
Yep.
deep closers this race is not going to play out well for deep closers. I thought
I don't
Golden
think it
Tempo had
sets up
a
for him.
ideal trip at the Derby, and I don't know if he's going to get that same ideal trip. So, again, like you said with Renegade, you love him. He's a good horse. I love Golden Tempo. Um,
Right.
Derby winner, but not this Saturday. I don't have him in the top
I don't
three.
either. I don't see that kind of a pace meltdown. I don't see where um, horses are going to unnecessarily battle other horses and
Yeah,
have less in the tank. And again, nothing against Golden Temple. I love this horse.
yeah, yeah. And he's
We didn't
he's
get to our second group when we were doing the Derby stuff, but um, I still would ascertain that he's got a better late closing kick than Renegade or Commandment, or maybe not Commandment, but close.
right,
Um,
right.
I
And
think
if
the
the
numbers he showed in the Louisiana Derby are drastically reduced by the move that Jose Ortiz made going to the rail. And his numbers, his closing numbers going to the Derby were every bit as good as anybody's, excluding Commandment. And I think it actually was probably better than Commandments because he re-engaged after that stupid move that Ortiz made.
yeah,
This is a
and
really good horse, but
and if it would be a
to
mile and a
win,
if it would be a mile and a half, that would
yeah,
work. That would work to Golden Temple's advantage.
for sure. And I think this is a horse maybe in the Breeders' Cup next year, if you've got some really good um, horses that like to press the pace. I could see this horse winning another G1 down the road with the right setup and just be a tough horse and show up all the time. But I think for him to win against these high quality horses, it's just hard coming that far off the lead. There's just way too many things that can go wrong.
Yeah, for sure. And
But I love this horse.
where do you have him?
Number four.
Number four. My number four, I have Commandment as my number four.
Oh, interesting.
Again,
Say
good,
more.
good horse. Why I like him, finished seventh. never seemed to get engaged in the race. Nothing against him. Again, it was it's the Derby, a lot of horses. Why I like him, Cox, strong pedigree, versatile running style. I think he's going to be sitting, third, fourth, fifth. He's going to be right in there with Emerging Market and Chief Wallaby, and going to be one of those horses that makes the move for home, right? Coming out of the turn pretty early. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think he needs. I think he needs a career day. I think he has to take a bigger step forward, which I'm afraid, or I think, or for his sake, I'm afraid that Emerging Market and Chief Wallaby will take a bigger step after the Derby than what he did, just because
Mm-hmm.
they're gaining experience. So again, nothing against Commandment, looking at him at number four, but I just like the other three better. Um, and what
Okay.
is commandments coming out of the seven post? Um, not, the post positions aren't going to make much of a difference in this race as far as, um, you have Golden Temple maybe at the nine, but I don't think that'll affect him either. So, anyways,
Mm-hmm.
I like commandment. I just like the other three that I have, one, two, three, better.
All right.
I'm going to have them on my tickets. Don't get me wrong.
Sure. Sure.
And you said you
Um,
had Golden Temple four. So who do you have three?
I have Chief Wallaby at 3. Um, yeah, again, I really like this horse. I think of the three of the his last 3 races, if I could rate which one I think he has the best chance to win, I would say this race. Um, I know he went off as the favorite in what was it, the Fountain of Youth, I think, um, and lost to Commandment. Um, what what I like about this horse is I think he's still on the improve. I, you were talking about Commandment. I've heard some people talk about it again in the Derby. You have to expect there's going to be chaos and whatnot. But when Otino, right? I get
Yeah,
Ocelli and Otino mixed
yeah,
up. I don't know why. Um, when Gaffleon, and I love Tyler, but he came down pretty hard in the stretch and had it ended up where Commandment gets squished pretty hard into Chief Wallaby. I was impressed that Wallaby kept running, whereas Commandment decided I'm done.
yeah.
um, but Commandment was in a good spot at that point. I was expecting him to keep doing his thing he'd done in his last 3, 4 races and build momentum, and um,
Yeah, he was in that group turning
didn't.
for home, wasn't he? He was in a pretty good spot turning for home, and then
Yeah, whereas Chief Wallaby kept running, and they all kind of bumped hard. He didn't give up. There's no quit in this horse. Um, what I don't like about him so far is he doesn't pass when the top couple horses engage him. I've yet to see him dig in and do something about it in the
mm,
stretch. Um, Again, these are the world class horses, so but you know what I mean. He didn't do it um, as Renegade and Golden Tempo ran by them. He didn't do it when Commandment ran by him in the Florida Derby or ran by him in the Fountain of Youth. He only did it in his first race with the Puma, which again, good quality. So I do not. I still think this horse has a solid chance of winning this race. I think with Belmont, he could still be on the improve. I like that he's got a few races of triple digit buyer speed figures. Um, I to put him in my top 2, I needed to see him in one of these last 4 races when the real fight started. He he fought harder than the other horses he was fighting with, and so far I haven't seen it.
yeah, I have him as number one. I have Chief
Okay.
Wallaby, and I've been on the Chief Wallaby bandwagon from early on.
Oh, I
And
love this
he,
horse, but yeah,
yeah, and
you've
he
been
and
all
he
over him.
yeah, and he hasn't quite. I agree with you. He hasn't stepped up and beat those horses. He's ran with them. He shows he has the talent. He shows he has the pedigree. Um, but he also, I
Yep.
don't know, he's got the grit, like you say. He finished fourth and he just kept coming, even after, ping-ponging around a bit in there, getting roughed up a bit. He kept coming, and I just think it's his time, his running style. I think he's the one who's gonna make the first move for home. When they turn for home, he's gonna be sitting about fourth, fifth, maybe as close as third, and he's gonna make the move there. Here's an interesting stat for you. At the Travers,
Sure.
which is Saratoga, mile and a
Hmm.
quarter, uh,
Yep.
3-year-olds, got some similarities here. 50% of the winners have come from the first three posts, and he's got the
Really?
three, and he's
In the
coming out of
history
the
of the
three hole
Travers.
in the history of the Travers. Um,
Interesting.
Now, it's an interesting
Same
stat.
distance though. Yeah, same
Yeah,
distance, same track.
same, yeah,
I
same
haven't
track.
looked into that at all.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like I say, it's interesting. It doesn't, it's not going to make me bet on, wouldn't confine me to, hey, I'm going to bet on one, two, or three. But the fact I like the number three horse makes me kind of excited. So yeah, I have him winning
Sure.
it. But again, it's going to be awful close. I have Renegade as third, the favorite, and then and so my number two horse is Emerging Market.
Okay.
So I'll let you. I know you like Emerging Market a lot. Emerging Market lost a shoe in the Derby. I didn't hear that
He
till
did.
recently. Um,
Yeah, he did.
so and both with Chief Wallaby and Emerging Market, who I have one and two. I think they're improving. One of the knocks on them in the Derby is they've been lightly raced. They didn't have the experience. They needed more seasoning. Hey, guess what?
Hmm.
They ran a tough
They
Derby.
got
They
it.
got got some seasoning, you know.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
I think they're going to improve the most, and that's why I have them one, two. So
So you have emerging market as two.
yeah. So those are my five. Who's
Um,
who's your two? Number two?
my two is commandment.
Okay.
And as we're talking, the more I um look at my numbers and how I handicapped more than other years. And again, I thought the Derby was super fun. You and I the only horse I had any money on to win was Golden Tempo, so that was exciting and fun. Um, but as far as handicapping goes, for the most part, it's I've kind of drawn a line through that race. For
Yeah.
even the horses that did well and the horses that didn't do well. Um, because it's just so chaotic. And um, the horses that did well, I think, got through some tough spots where others didn't. Um, so that being said, it's I say that to lead into my number two horse, Commandment. I liked where Commandment was sitting when they were coming into the middle of the stretch. I mean, he was in fourth place. Um, but he did not handle the jostling that went on there in the stretch drive. Whereas Chief Wallaby did. I mean, he folded in the tent. You could just see him. Oselli is not who is what I was not Otino. Um, is the horse that came in and pushed
Yeah.
him into Chief Wallaby. He just didn't. He just looked like to me. He looked like a horse that when that happened and everything else of fighting through and all the chaos and the crowd, it just seemed like he gave up. Um, Now, what I find really interesting with Commandment is I don't think Cox was happy with Saez's ride. That was the first time that Saez rode him, and he's switching to Johnny V. I think he thought he moved him too quick, is my guess. I could be wrong, but I do think if I had to lay down money on why, I think he thought that Saez moved him too quickly. And we've talked about it on this podcast more than once. If you need somebody that can judge pace, Velasquez is right up there.
Johnny
Typically, I'd
V,
rather have
yeah.
him on a front running horse, but he is really good at judging the pace of the particular race he's in. I think. So I have Commandment at two. I for the most part, I have a line through the Derby. I thought he was exactly where I kind of wanted him to be, at the center of the track there on the stretch, but he did not handle the bumping well.
Yeah.
Could be he can't handle a mile and a quarter too. I have to admit that.
Yeah. Well, hey, go back to Johnny
We'll
V.
see.
I think Commandment's gonna be sitting second, and
Mhm.
that the pace is gonna, or judging the pace is gonna be really important. I think Johnny V's the perfect jockey for him in this race because he's got to decide when to go, and he can't get caught into pushing the pace too hard. Yeah, I think it's a great move. You mentioned I like Johnny V on Commandment. That's pretty good.
I do too. I do too. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I love the odds on him. Um, I had him as my most likely horse to win the Derby. I still think his closing kick is pretty outrageous when he really gets going.
Yeah.
Um, but he has shown, like in the Fountain of Youth, for example, that he can sit closer to the pace and put up a triple digit type of closing figure. Um, I mean, this horse going in the Derby had won what, four races in a row.
Yeah,
Um,
he was pretty hot.
yep, and against some pretty tough competition too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have him as my number two.
And that leaves your number one.
My number one, yeah, I mean, is emerging market. We talked a little bit about him going in the Derby. We mentioned things like of the horses in the field, he's one of the two that I thought long term is the most intriguing. I mean, I think that first half of the Derby he did fine, but again, I have a line through it. I For a horse that's on his third race to come into the Kentucky Derby after winning his second race at a mile and 3/16. There's nothing about his performance that bothers me about his long-term talent.
And he
I
blew a
just
shoe. He
think
blew a shoe.
blue shoe, and it's chaos. It's like nothing they're ever going to run, and for him to even be forwardly placed enough, as a horse on his third race ever, it's a line through it race for me.
Yeah.
Um, and then with everything that we've already talked about with this pace, I only see one quality horse that put together triple digit type of buyers for the first two early fractions of a race. I think he's just sitting in a spot where he's the strongest horse with the type of running style that's going to be really advantageous in this field. I don't like to hear when you say the half the traverses are won by horses in the first three posts because he's sitting in the eighth post. But I think he's got the best early kind of turn of foot of the quality horses in this race, which I think puts him in a really nice spot to be the horse that's on the lead when they head for home.
Yeah, I wouldn't put a ton into that. It's just a fun stat. But yeah, there's enough distance from the gate to the first turn for the horses to. I mean, they got to get themselves into position pretty quickly, but there's time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he'll be
And
sitting
I'm not
fine.
worried about him being wide at all in a field of nine. Not
No,
concerned.
no.
I mean, he went into that first turn at the fairgrounds, which is, they the starting gate's pretty close to the first turn in the fairgrounds, and I think he was, if I'm not mistaken, he's like four wide.
Hmm.
Handled that just perfect. You know,
Hmm.
he was right there pressing Pavlovian when they were coming out of the turn. I mean, it's exactly what I on with my numbers. I think that's what's going to be. I think he's going to, whoever's on the lead. I think they're giving it up to emerging market when they come out, when they start heading for home. I
Yeah,
think he's got
yeah,
plenty in the tank,
yeah. I
and I'm
I,
getting six
I
to
like
one.
that. On both your top two horses, you're getting 6-1. That's
I
pretty
know it.
good.
It's
That's
awesome.
pretty good. Yeah. Speaking of betting, it's going to be a difficult race for me to bet. Like I said, I like all five of those horses a lot. Um, the home stretch isn't short, but it's not a particularly long home stretch. So I'm kind of with you on the idea that the deep closers, Golden Temple's a deep closer. Renegade is a closer. I don't know if you call him a deep closer, but um, I don't. I don't see this race being advantageous for them. Not the track, not, again, it doesn't have that big
Hmm.
sweeping long wide turns and
I agree.
I just those two I think have a little bit disadvantage of how the race is going to play out. The other three, I think the race is going to fit their running style. They're stalking, kind of a they're going to get the trip they want. So
Yeah, I agree. I honestly of the of the quality horses in this race, I just think the one that has the best early tactical speed to get themselves exactly where they want to be by far is Emerging Market. I think any of the other of our top um, five horses, if they use that kind of speed to get into that spot, so far they haven't shown that then they um, will sustain any kind of speed in the stretch drive.
mhm.
Um, I think Power Shift is a um, potential game changer, but it's a pretty big jump up in class for Power Shift.
Yeah,
Um, so I'm not that worried about it. However, excuse me, um, it is Fletcher with Power Shift, and I don't want to say that he's a rabbit, but he definitely could make it easier for Renegade. And those are
yeah,
both Fletcher
yeah.
horses.
He might be a bit of
Um,
a rabbit, but somebody's got to chase. They got to chase the rabbit. I don't know if they're going to.
right.
I think Commandment's going
I
to be the
agree.
next one in line there, and I don't think he's going to chase. I think he's going to run his race. So
And I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, Commandment did in the Fountain of Youth was closer. Um,
yeah,
I guess his second race at Churchill Downs, he was closer, but that was a 7 furlong race. Um, and it didn't bode well for him last time to be a little more forwardly placed. So far, he's done his best, and he's a little further back, but we'll see.
yeah,
We'll
yeah,
see.
yeah. So
So I've got an Emerging Market Commandment, Chief Wallaby, and Golden Tempo, and you've got it.
I have Cheap Wallaby, Emerging Market, Renegade, and then Commandment and Golden Tempo. So
All right.
we'll see. It should be a good race and fun one to bet. We'll see what happens when the odds come out, closer to the start of the race. We'll be interesting to see what I do.
Yeah, I mean, I think we said similar things going into the Preakness. Um, and I didn't have the winner, but boy, the trifecta made up for any of that. And those were all like 9-1, 6-1, 10-1 horses.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
this is another race where I'm not going to be afraid to do some trifecta combinations and
for
see if we can
sure.
get a little lucky.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun with
Yeah,
some exotics. So, all right. Well, hey,
for sure.
enjoy the race this weekend, and
You do the same.
we'll talk again soon.
You got it, my friend. Go make some money.
There you go.